What makes Marxism so appealing in today's society? Did you know that a recent survey found that nearly 50 young adults view socialism positively? Let's explore why Marxism is making a comeback. Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that has sparked debates for over a century, Marxism. In an era marked by economic struggles and social inequalities, Marxism has reemerged as a compelling framework for many. But why? To understand its appeal, we must first understand what Marxism is. To understand why Marxism is so tempting, we must first delve into its historical roots. Marxism emerged in the mid-19th century, a time of significant social and economic upheaval. The Industrial Revolution had transformed economies, but it also led to severe working conditions, child labor, and stark economic disparities. Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels observed these conditions and argued that capitalism inherently leads to exploitation and class struggle. Their seminal work, The Communist Manifesto, called for a proletarian revolution to overthrow the bourgeoisie and establish a classless society. The Communist Manifesto, published in 1848, was a rallying cry for the working class. It outlined the principles of Marxism and argued that the proletariat, or working class, must rise against the bourgeoisie, or ruling class, to create a society where the means of production are communally owned. Marx and Engels believed that capitalism's inherent contradictions would lead to its downfall. They argued that the exploitation of workers would eventually result in a proletarian revolution, paving the way for a classless society. This revolutionary ideology gained traction among workers and intellectuals, leading to the formation of socialist and communist movements worldwide. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Marxist ideas influenced labor movements and political parties across Europe. The establishment of the Socialist International in 1889 and the growth of socialist parties highlighted the increasing appeal of Marxist thought. The Russian Revolution of 1917 marked a turning point in the history of Marxism. The Bolsheviks, led by Vladimir Lenin, successfully overthrew the Tsarist regime and established the world's first socialist state. Lenin's adaptation of Marxism, known as Leninism, emphasized the need for a vanguard party to lead the revolution and maintain control during the transition to socialism. The success of the Russian Revolution inspired communist movements worldwide. In the 1920s and 1930s, the Soviet Union emerged as a global power, promoting Marxist-Leninist principles and supporting revolutionary movements in various countries. Marxism is built on several core principles. First, the theory of historical materialism posits that all societal changes are driven by material conditions and class struggles. According to Marx, the history of all hitherto existing societies is the history of class struggles. Second, the labor theory of value argues that the value of a product is determined by the labor invested in it. Marx contended that workers are exploited under capitalism because they do not receive the full value of their labor. Instead, the surplus value is appropriated by capitalists as profit. Third, Marxism advocates for the abolition of private property and the establishment of common ownership of the means of production. This principle is based on the belief that private property leads to inequality and exploitation, while common ownership would ensure a more equitable distribution of resources. These principles were revolutionary and offered a radical alternative to the capitalist system, which Marx and Engels believed was unsustainable and destined to collapse. Marx's theory of historical materialism emphasizes the importance of economic structures in shaping society. He argued that the mode of production, or the way goods are produced and distributed, determines the social, political, and ideological aspects of society. According to Marx, each historical epoch is characterized by a dominant mode of production and corresponding class relations. For example, feudal society was based on agricultural production and the relationship between lords and serfs. Capitalist society, on the other hand, is based on industrial production and the relationship between capitalists and workers. Marx believed that class struggle is the driving force of historical change. He argued that the contradictions within each mode of production lead to conflicts between the ruling and oppressed classes, ultimately resulting in revolutionary transformations. In capitalist society, this contradiction is between the bourgeoisie, who own the means of production, and the proletariat, who sell their labor. The labor theory of value is another fundamental principle of Marxism. Marx argued that the value of a commodity is determined by the socially necessary labor time required to produce it. Under capitalism, workers are paid wages that are less than the value of their labor, with the difference, or surplus value, being appropriated by capitalists as profit. This exploitation of labor is central to Marx's critique of capitalism. He argued that the capitalist system is inherently exploitative, as it relies on the extraction of surplus value from workers. Marx believed that this exploitation would lead to increasing inequality and social tensions, ultimately resulting in the collapse of capitalism. The abolition of private property is a key component of Marxist theory. Marx argued that private property is the root cause of inequality and exploitation. He believed that common ownership of the means of production would eliminate class divisions and ensure a more equitable distribution of resources. Marx envisioned a classless society where the means of production are collectively owned and controlled by the working class. In such a society, production would be based on the needs of the community rather than the profit motives of individual capitalists. Over the past century, Marxism has been implemented in various forms, most notably in the Soviet Union, China, and Cuba. These implementations aim to create classless societies through the abolition of private property and centralized control of the economy. The Russian Revolution of 1917, led by the Bolsheviks under Vladimir Lenin, was the first major attempt to implement Marxist principles on a national scale. The revolution resulted in the establishment of the Soviet Union, a state that sought to build socialism through centralized planning and collective ownership. Lenin adapted Marxist theory to the Russian context, emphasizing the role of a vanguard party to lead the revolution and maintain control during the transition to socialism. This approach, known as Leninism, became the basis for the Soviet state's structure and policies. Under Joseph Stalin, the Soviet Union underwent significant industrialization and collectivization. While these policies aimed to build socialism, they also led to widespread repression, forced labor, and famine. The Great Purge of the 1930s saw the execution and imprisonment of millions, including many perceived as enemies of the state. Similarly, the Chinese Revolution, led by Mao Zedong, aimed to transform China into a socialist state. The revolution succeeded in 1949, leading to the creation of the People's Republic of China. Mao's policies, such as the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution, were efforts to apply Marxist principles to China's unique context. The Great Leap Forward, launched in 1958, aimed to rapidly industrialize China and collectivize agriculture. However, the policy led to widespread famine and the deaths of millions. The Cultural Revolution, initiated in 1966, sought to eliminate counter-revolutionary elements and reinforce Maoist ideology. It resulted in significant social and cultural upheaval, including the persecution of intellectuals and destruction of cultural heritage. In Cuba, Fidel Castro's revolution in 1959 overthrew the Batista regime and established a socialist state. Castro's government nationalized industries and implemented social reforms, aligning with Marxist principles. Cuba's alliance with the Soviet Union further solidified its commitment to socialism. However, the practical application of Marxism often led to authoritarian regimes, economic inefficiencies, and human rights abuses. The collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 marked a significant turning point, leading many to declare the failure of Marxist ideology. Despite these challenges, Marxist ideas continue to influence political movements and governments worldwide. Countries like Vietnam and Laos have maintained Marxist-Leninist governments, while others, like Venezuela and Bolivia, have implemented policies inspired by Marxist principles. Despite its historical failures, Marxism continues to appeal to many, especially the youth. To understand this, we must explore its psychological dimensions. Jordan Peterson has extensively discussed why Marxism resonates on a deep psychological level. Jordan Peterson. Marxism offers a compelling narrative of good versus evil, where the oppressed rise against their oppressors. This narrative provides a sense of identity and purpose, which is especially appealing to young people seeking meaning in a chaotic world. Peterson's insights highlight how Marxism taps into fundamental human desires for justice, fairness, and community. It provides a clear enemy, the capitalist system, and a vision for a more equitable society. Marxism's psychological appeal is rooted in its promise of a utopian future. For many, the idea of a society without class divisions, where everyone is equal and resources are shared, is incredibly attractive. This vision of a just and fair society speaks to our innate desires for harmony and community. Furthermore, Marxism offers a sense of purpose and belonging. It provides individuals with a framework to understand their place in the world and a cause to fight for. This is particularly appealing to young people who are searching for meaning and direction in their lives. Peterson argues that Marxism's appeal is also linked to its critique of capitalism. For many, capitalism is associated with greed, inequality, and exploitation. Marxism offers a powerful critique of these issues, highlighting the systemic nature of economic and social injustices. Marxism's focus on class struggle and the fight against oppression resonates with those who feel marginalized or disempowered. It provides a framework for understanding and challenging the structures of power and inequality. Today's youth face numerous challenges: economic instability, job insecurity, student debt, and social inequalities. These issues have led to widespread disillusionment with the current system, making Marxism's promises of social justice and economic equality particularly attractive. In recent years, we have seen a resurgence of interest in Marxist ideas among young people. This can be attributed to several factors. Firstly, the economic instability caused by the 2008 financial crisis and the subsequent recession left many young people struggling to find stable employment and burdened with student debt. Secondly, the growing wealth gap and social inequalities have led to a sense of frustration and disillusionment with the current system. For many young people, capitalism appears to be failing, and they are searching for alternatives. Social media has also played a significant role in the resurgence of Marxist ideas. Platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok are filled with discussions on socialism, class struggle, and anti-capitalist sentiments. Influencers and thought leaders use these platforms to promote Marxist ideals and mobilize support. For many young people, Marxism offers a vision of a more just and equitable society. It provides a framework for challenging the status quo and advocating for systemic change. The resurgence of interest in Marxism among young people suggests that its ideas will remain relevant in the years to come. However, it is essential to critically examine both the strengths and weaknesses of Marxist theory and its historical applications. Jordan Peterson has been a vocal critic of Marxism, arguing that its appeal is rooted in a dangerous simplification of complex societal issues. He believes that Marxism's binary view of oppressors and oppressed can lead to destructive outcomes. Jordan Peterson. Marxism's appeal lies in its promise of a utopian future, but history has shown us that such promises often lead to tyranny. The idea that we can create a perfect society by dismantling the existing order is both naive and dangerous. Peterson's critique emphasizes the need for a nuanced understanding of societal issues and warns against the allure of simplistic solutions. According to Peterson, Marxism's binary worldview of oppressors and oppressed simplifies complex societal dynamics. He argues that this perspective can lead to resentment and conflict, ultimately resulting in authoritarianism and oppression. Peterson also critiques the utopian vision of Marxism, highlighting the dangers of striving for a perfect society. He argues that attempts to create utopias have historically led to significant human suffering and warns against the allure of such ideals. Peterson's insights highlight the importance of critically examining Marxist ideas and their implications. While Marxism offers a compelling critique of capitalism, it is essential to consider the complexities of societal issues and the potential consequences of implementing its principles. Education plays a crucial role in shaping young people's perspectives on Marxism. Many universities have incorporated Marxist theory into their curricula, sparking debates on its relevance and implications. Proponents argue that studying Marxism provides valuable insights into social justice and economic inequality. They believe that understanding Marxist theory can help students critically analyze the capitalist system and advocate for more equitable policies. Critics, however, contend that an uncritical acceptance of Marxist ideas can lead to ideological indoctrination. They argue that students should be exposed to a diverse range of perspectives to develop a well-rounded understanding of societal issues. The role of education in shaping perspectives on Marxism is a contentious issue. It's essential for educational institutions to foster critical thinking and open dialogue, allowing students to explore and evaluate different ideologies. Academic freedom is crucial in ensuring that students can engage with diverse perspectives and develop their critical thinking skills. Universities should encourage students to question and debate different ideologies, including Marxism, to foster a deeper understanding of societal issues. By promoting open dialogue and critical thinking, educational institutions can help students develop a nuanced understanding of Marxism and its implications. This approach ensures that students are well-equipped to engage in informed and meaningful discussions about sociopolitical issues. As we look to the future, it's clear that Marxism will continue to influence sociopolitical discourse. Its critique of capitalism and call for social justice resonate with many, especially in times of economic hardship and social unrest. The resurgence of interest in Marxism among young people suggests that its ideas will remain relevant. However, the challenge lies in balancing Marxism's ideals with the lessons learned from its historical applications. It's essential to critically examine both the strengths and weaknesses of Marxist theory as we navigate the complexities of the modern world. As we continue to grapple with economic and social challenges, the debate over Marxism's relevance will undoubtedly persist. Whether you agree with its principles or not, understanding its appeal is crucial to engaging in informed and meaningful discussions about our future. The future of Marxism will likely involve a re-evaluation of its principles and their application. Scholars and activists will need to consider the successes and failures of past implementations and adapt Marxist ideas to contemporary contexts. One potential avenue for the future of Marxism is the exploration of democratic socialism, which seeks to combine Marxist principles with democratic governance. This approach emphasizes social ownership and democratic control of the means of production, aiming to address the shortcomings of both capitalism and authoritarian socialism. Another important aspect of the future of Marxism is the consideration of intersectionality. This approach examines how various forms of oppression, such as class, race, gender, and sexuality, intersect and interact. By incorporating intersectional analysis, Marxist theory can be enriched and made more relevant to contemporary struggles for social justice. Ultimately, the future of Marxism will depend on its ability to adapt and respond to the evolving challenges of the modern world. By critically examining its principles and learning from past experiences, Marxist theory can continue to inspire and inform movements for social and economic justice. In conclusion, the appeal of Marxism in today's society is multifaceted. It offers a critique of capitalism, promises of social justice, and resonates deeply on a psychological level. While its historical applications have often been problematic, its foundational ideas continue to inspire and mobilize many, particularly the youth. As we continue to grapple with economic and social challenges, the debate over Marxism's relevance will undoubtedly persist. Whether you agree with its principles or not, understanding its appeal is crucial to engaging in informed and meaningful discussions about our future. As we look to the future, it's essential to critically examine Marxist ideas and their implications. By fostering open dialogue and critical thinking, we can ensure that discussions about Marxism and its relevance are informed, nuanced, and constructive. What are your thoughts on Marxism? Let us know in the comments below. And if you're interested in more discussions like this, check out our video on the critique of socialism. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.